Let's go to Patrick. He's in New Orleans. You're on Free Talk Live. Patrick.
Yes, sir. I have a question. I'm 70 years old. I'm a disabled Vietnam vet. I want to know why my southern border is not protected, why it's not closed. How come 55,000 children can walk in? How come is that?
As opposed to what, like sealing off the exits and putting up walls, and some other country saying, Mr. Obama, tear down this wall. I mean, what is it that you really think is going to happen here?
Well, as far as I know, the Congress passed a bill to do just exactly that, put up a wall with a whole bunch of openings that would be manned by Border Patrol. As I understand it, most countries have that.
So that's what you want. You want the United States to be like most countries. You want very restrictive rules, walls. You want militaristic police standing guard, and I presume you're going to want some internal searches as well, right? Because there's already immigrants here, so I'm guessing you're going to want to go ahead and do some house-to-house searches, maybe some internal checkpoints. Does that all sound good to you too?
Hey, if 55,000 children can get through, some ISIS people with nuclear
You're darn
weapons
right they
can
could.
get through.
Absolutely. And you know what we should do is we should advocate the United States government stay the hell out of the Middle East and stop messing with people so nobody from ISIS wants to come over here and blow stuff up. You can't protect 2,500 miles of border along the south and then another 3,500 miles of border along the north. Yeah, somebody can slip in.
Wait, you didn't answer my question, Patrick. So, I mean, how do you feel about the idea? Let's do some house-to-house searches here, some random checkpoints. You're okay with that, right? The police coming in and pawing through all your stuff, looking for.
When a policeman pulls me over, he wants my ID.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens to me. How come it doesn't happen to Latinos?
Well, it happens to them all the time. I mean, people are getting arrested for driving without licenses. I mean, this happens every day.
There's plenty of Latinos being
yeah.
arrested by cops in the United States. So you didn't answer my question, Patrick. I mean, are you okay with the idea of maybe doing some house-to-house searches? Would you be all right with letting the police check through your house?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. So I guess you don't want to stop the immigration horde. You're not really serious about this, are you? You could be hiding immigrants in your house, Patrick, and how do we know you're not, sir?
I think the point that Ian and I were all trying to drive home here is, I mean, if you decide you want to seal off the border, you want to put up a wall, you want to have Border Patrol people there. I mean, this is a loss of freedom. Patrick, was it right?
Yes,
Patrick. This is a loss of freedom. It's an expense. It's a thing that taxpayers are going to get charged for. It's a thing that if there's a problem here, they're going to prevent us from leaving the country. All these other countries that you're talking about that have strictly controlled borders, a lot of them are really tyrannical regimes where people want to get out and they cannot.
That's right. Those walls keep people in too.
Exactly. So walls work both ways, and generally speaking, these countries are putting up these walls not to keep the immigrants out, but to keep their population in. And I'm terrified of that happening in the United States, especially when we see government ramping up things the way that it does. The pace of the growth of government in this country to then seal off its borders terrifies me. Does that not concern you, Patrick?
Oh, sir, I walk with a cane. If I want to get someplace or get away from someplace, I don't have a problem.
Well, I don't walk with a cane, and I have a car, and I'm really terrified of there being a wall and a man with a gun should I need to flee this country.
Patrick?
Yeah, it isn't a matter of being able to leave. I have a passport. I can leave anytime.
So you have permission to leave, but as soon as your permission to leave is revoked, then you're going to have a hard time getting out. Do you understand that?
Who's going to take away the permission for me to leave?
The bureaucrats.
A lot of people thought that nobody was going to take their guns in New York or California or Connecticut. A lot of people thought that they could say things on the internet without being threatened with 4 years in jail.
Thanks for the call, Patrick. Appreciate hearing from you. Look, Patrick and people like him are living in this fantasy world where the government, they can just create the government that they want.
Yeah.
They'll build a wall, and the people running the wall will let them out anytime they want to go out. They'll honor their permission slip that they've given them, and everything's just going to be fine. They won't have to submit to house searches because, well, we don't have to go that far to try to stop the immigration problem. But the wall will be built and it will be operated in just the way they envision it. And of course, it never works out that way. It works out usually in the way that, well, things just keep getting worse. The government program is created, whatever it is. In this case, the wall program, and then they increase the program size. The amount of bureaucrats that are working for the program increases. So now it's the wall, and then it's building turrets on the wall at 50-foot intervals, and then it's adding barbed wire, adding the moat, throwing gators into the moat, and before you know it, you do have internal checkpoints already. By the way, in this country, they already exist, and there's going to be more of them likely in the future. We've already got ICE, this immigration customs bureaucracy. They're already raiding businesses and holding people at gunpoint while they go through files in the back office, looking at people's identification, looking at their employee records and their personal information. That's already happening. The only thing that hasn't really happened on at least a regular basis are house-to-house searches. But that did happen in the Boston bombing aftermath, where they did go house to house and they did search house to house looking for those people. So we're already there. It just hasn't been used for immigration purposes yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that it drove me crazy. Like when I was in New York and I started getting politically active, I got involved with the Tea Party, right? And these people were all, hey, limited government, constitution, yada, yada, yada.
Except the border.
Except anything that was pitched to them as immigration, not even just the border. I mean, different zoning regulations and stuff like this. And this is part of, I lost an apartment in New York because they were going to send an inspector because I was living in an illegal apartment. And the Tea Party was like, yeah, we need to crack down on these illegal apartments to get the illegal immigrants out of Long Island. And I'm like, I live in one of those illegal apartments. Can you please stop doing this? I'm white. I've lived here my whole life. I speak the language. I work for a living. I pay taxes, unfortunately. And
we're all illegals now. I mean, that's just the thing. I'm so insulted by people calling human beings illegals, like that they're bad people because they've come here looking for a better life. Many of them. Sure, some are welfare hounds, but so are some people born here. But anyway,
the welfare hounds, that's the problem of the state, not the problem of the people that are taking it.
Yeah, but these people are coming here because it's a better life here, and it's worth the effort to come here, even with all the crazy police state stuff. It is true, however, if you were to create a crazy border and an insane enforcement apparatus inside the country, regular house-to-house searches, checkpoints everywhere, eventually people would stop coming. That much is true, because they would realize that staying in Guatemala isn't actually as bad as going to America, so they'll just stay where they are, and then we can all live in a police state hell. And it'll be wonderful.
A lot of people complain that that the immigrants don't change their government where they are, and then they use and they want to use the power that they have for social status to make it more difficult for poor people to come here. Well, that's kind of the problem the immigrants have where they are, is that rich people who have a say in the government are attempting to modify the government to benefit them and to benefit the rich people and at the detriment of the poor people. So of course they're going to come someplace where they can just work for more money.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.